Hey guys, so today I want to talk about villains. I love a good bad guy, a great antagonist, a villain. They're just so an antagonist and a villain aren't the same. Okay, if you want to do it, you can do it. Okay! So sorry about that, but I needed to prove that I'm right because a lot of people make that mistake. They're like, villain and antagonist, and they put them together, and they're not the same thing. The word villain is not synonymous with the word antagonist. An antagonist and protagonist only refer to the point of view of a story. The protagonist is the main character who the story is focused on. The plot is about them reaching their goals and desires. The antagonist is the character that's against them, that's working to stop them from getting their goals and desires. So with this in mind, what is a villain? Well, the dictionary defines a villain as a character whose evil actions or motivations are important to the plot. This is a character who has evil actions and motivations and are relevant to the plot. And that's relevant to the plot. So this definition leaves us to define what evil is, and how to define that is kind of hard. So I'm going to try and keep it simple, because evil can be viewed as many things. But on the surface, it's something that leads to harm and goes against morality. Now, the morality part, let's shelf that for now and think about if a character is doing harm to another character or characters, or planning on doing harm to other characters, they can be considered evil. Kuvera's work camps bring harm to other characters and put her actions into the evil category. The Joker killing people, that's harm. Going against morality, let's talk about that. It can be harder to explain than evil, because what morality is drifts and changes with time, culture, and situation. However, for simplicity's sake, if Superman wouldn't do it, it's probably immoral. So now that we've got a working definition of villain, let's go and see what characters I would consider villains and which characters I wouldn't. Harley Quinn, I would consider a villain. Her actions are doing harm, and she's aware of this harm, and most of the time, she's doing some non-Supermanly action. Now, let's go to someone who's not as cut and dry as a villain. Rick from Rick and Morty. I consider him a villainous character. His actions cause harm to other characters, and he's aware of that. And if there's a morality presented in his episodes, it definitely is not going in his favor. So why do some people call him an anti-hero and not a villain? Well, that's because anti-hero fits in this weird niche in between hero and villain. And they are the ultimate gray area. But basically, for the video series that I'm starting, I'm gonna ignore them. I know that's a difficult thing to do, but guys, that's so much gray and so much just a pile of stuff that the definition of causing harm is mostly what I'm going to be using for villains. And usually if a story states or presents a character as villain or a bad guy, I'm going to believe the story. If they're presenting them as a good guy and they're more so causing harm, I'm going to let them be. So that's about where I'm coming from. I know that there's a bunch of gray area in this definition, but I wanted to sit down and kind of discuss my definition for a villain, because I'm planning on starting a series about villains. And what makes a good villain? What makes them work? What makes them not work? I hope that you will stick around to watch this series. I will see you next week, where I will hopefully be doing a video about how to make a good protagonist with a villain. See you next week! You've made it to the end screen, and now you're watching it. check out a video. There's so much to do. YouTube is a magical place. Okay, I'm done.